On the 17th of September 1944, hundreds of Dakota aircraft full of British and American paratroops take off from English airfields bound for Europe, under the guise of Operation Market Garden. Cruising past the white cliffs of Dover, the aerial armada of transport aircraft is soon over the English Channel, heading for several drop zones in enemy-occupied Holland. Once over their intended destinations, thousands of troops emerge from the aircraft, marking the beginning of the largest airborne operation of the Second World War. Elsewhere, a large number of other airborne troops and light vehicles arrive at the landing zones in Airspeed Horsa and Waco gliders. Unknown to the paratroopers, many of their landing zones are close to recuperating German soldiers who waste no time swinging into action. By the time glider-borne troops hit the ground and race into action, the fighting is starting to get fierce. During the filming of A Bridge Too Far in 1976, Joseph E. Levine's production company used 11 Dakota aircraft and 1,000 men to recreate the massed paratroop drop scenes. 10 Horsa glider replicas were constructed for the movie, and while one was towed at high speed along the runway for filming purposes, none of them actually flew. Cockpit shots showing the gliders getting airborne were filmed from a two-seat glider owned by a member of the London Gliding Club. Other aircraft used in the movie included 4 Harvards, which were used to represent a variety of Allied and German fighters, an Oster III, and a genuine Spitfire Mark 9. As the German forces advance on the landing grounds, the hapless Allies are forced to make a hasty retreat. Despite a small amount of air support, the British troops are pushed back towards the Dutch town of Arnhem. Meanwhile, as the paratroop and airborne landings take place in central Holland, on the Dutch-Belgian border, 30 Corps, commanded by General Horrocks, begins its slow advance. 30 Corps, spearheaded by the tanks of the Guards Armoured Division, was tasked with breaking through to the various landing grounds in Holland. The Corps' aim was to rapidly advance through Holland, capturing important bridges and river crossings as they went, and eventually relieve the isolated paratroopers. Unfortunately, the armoured forces quickly ran into stiff German resistance, and the speed of their advance was severely curtailed. Meanwhile in Arnhem, the British 1st Parachute Brigade is fighting a desperate action, trying to thwart the German counterattack. Suffering significant losses over a period of 3 days, the brigade still manages to hold its own and inflict casualties on the German forces. Unfortunately, the promised reinforcements and relief by 30 Corps don't arrive in time, and the shattered remnants of the brigade are eventually rounded up and captured. The Allied command initially estimated that the entire British 1st Airborne Division of over 10,000 men would be required to seize and hold the Arnhem Bridge for 2 days until 30 Corps could break through. As it turned out, a mere 740 men, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel John Frost, held the bridge for 4 days against far heavier than expected opposition. After the operation, Brigadier General James Gavin, commander of the US 82nd Airborne Division, called Frost's stand the outstanding independent parachute battalion action of the war. The decimation of the 1st Airborne Division at Arnhem certainly underscores the feeling of some Allied commanders that the operation was going a bridge too far.